When multiplying matrices, the rules are a little bit different. You do not have to have the same dimensions. In fact, to multiply matrices, the columns of the first matrix must match the rows of the second. So I'll show you what I mean by that. Let's start with let's say I have a 2 by 2. So I have things here and a 2 by 2. So if I have a 2 by 2 and I'm multiplying it by a 2 by 2, this number would be the columns of the first matrix, and this number would be the rows of the second. So I'm always going to write them out like this and look to see if these two numbers are the same. And if these two numbers are the same, this means I can multiply. And since I can multiply, then using these two numbers are going to be my answer. So when I multiply a 2 by 2 times a 2 by 2, I get an answer that is a 2 by 2. I'll show you how to work one. So if I have the matrix 1, -2, 0, -1, and I multiply that by the matrix 2, 0, 1, 3, I'm going to write this out to make sure that I can multiply. This is a 2 by 2, and I'm multiplying it by a 2 by 2. Since these two numbers are the same, that means that I can multiply, and the answer is going to be a 2 by 2. So what I like to do is start off by writing my answer matrix and thinking about each spot in my answer matrix. In the answer matrix, this spot would be row 1, column 1. This spot would be row 1, column 2. This spot would be row 2, column 1, and this spot would be row 2, column 2. So using those particular spots, the elements, that's going to tell me how I'm going to multiply these. So I'm going to start by looking at just this spot. I want to find the number that goes here in the answer. In order to find that number, I'm going to use row 1 of the first matrix and column 1 of the second matrix. So I'm going to multiply the elements. 1 times 2 plus 0 times 1. So I use row 1, column 1. 1 times 2 plus 0 times 1. I get 2 plus 0, which is 2. For the next spot, I'm going to use row 1 of the first matrix and column 2 of the second matrix. So row 1 of the first matrix times column 2 of the second matrix. So 1 times 0 plus 0 times 3. So I get 0 plus 0, which is 0. For the next spot, this spot is going to be row 2, column 1, and this is going to be used by row 2, column 2. So I'm going to start here and try to find the answer for this spot. So I'm going to use row 1 of the first matrix. I'm sorry, it was row 2 of the second matrix and column 1 of the second matrix. So -2 times 2 plus -1 times 1. So I get -4 plus -1, which is -5. Okay, for this spot, I'm going to use row 2 of the first matrix and column 2 of the second matrix. So row 2 of the first matrix and column 2 of the second matrix. -2 times 0 plus negative 1 times 3. So 0 plus negative 3, which is negative 3. Let's do another one. So I'm going to multiply this matrix times this matrix. The first thing I want to do when I see a multiplication problem is decide if this is even possible. So let's think about this. This is row 1, row 2, column 3. So I have a 2 by 3. And I want to multiply that by a 2 by 3. So let's see if this is possible. Is this middle number the same? Nope, not the same, so I cannot multiply. And a lot of times on the ACT, they'll give you 3 or 4 matrices and ask which two can be multiplied together. Let's do another one. So if I was adding, I couldn't put these together because they're not the same. But I'm multiplying, so I'm going to check it and see. This is a 2 by 3, and I'm multiplying it times a 3 by 1. So I'm going to start by looking to see if this number is the same. And it is. So that means that my answer is going to be whatever these are. So my answer is going to be a 2 by 1. So I start by drawing this out. I need 2 rows and 1 column. So here I have 2 rows and 1 column. So I'm going to think about the elements of this. This is row 1, column 1, and this spot is row 2, column 1. So those are the places that I'm going to look for my answer. So I'm going to start finding this one. This one uses row 1 and column 1. So I've got 2 times 1, which is 2, plus the second elements, 3 times 2, plus the third elements, 4 times 5. So 2 plus 6 plus 20 is 28. So that's what goes in this first spot. The second spot uses row 2 of the first matrix and column 1 of the second matrix. So row 2 and column 1. 1 times 1 plus 1 times 2 plus 2 times 5. So 1 plus 2 plus 10. So in that spot, I get 13. Now, don't worry, the first assignment is going to lead you through each step of multiplying. Let's do one more. Let's multiply. Another sheet here. Let's multiply these two matrices. So what I've got is a 3 by 3 and a 3 by 3. So I'm going to check to see first if I can multiply them together. And since this is the same, that means it's a yes, and my answer is going to be a 3 by 3. So I'm going to draw my answer matrix. It's got to have 3 rows and 3 columns. So I'm going to see if I can think through this. I'm going to start with this spot. This spot is row 1, column 1. So I'm going to use row 1 and column 1. 1 times 3, 2 times 1, and 3 times 0. So 3 plus 2 plus 0 is 5. I think I'll just work myself across here. I'm going to find this one next. This is row 1, column 2. So I'm going to use row 1, and this time I'm going to use column 2. 1 times 2, 2 times 2, and 3 times 4. So I have 2 plus 4 plus 12. So this is 18. This is row 1, column 3. So I'm going to use row 1, column 3. 1 times 3 plus 2 times 0 plus 3 times 5. So 3 plus 0 plus 15 is 18. Let's go to the second row. Let's find this spot. This is row 2, column 1. So now I'm using row 2 and column 1. I have to get creative here. So 2 times 3, and I'm going to start doing that part in my head. That's 6. Plus 0 times 1 plus 5 times 0. So in this spot I have a 6. Now I'm going to do row 2 with column 2. Row 2, column 2. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 0 times 2, which is 0, plus 5 times 4, which is 20. That's 24. This is row 2, column 3. 2 times 3 is 6, 0 times 0 is 0, and 5 times 5 is 25. So that spot has a 31. The last spot. Row 3, column 1. Row 3, column 1. This would be 12 plus 2 plus negative 4. 14 plus negative 4 is 10. This is row 3, column 2. 8 plus 2 plus negative 4. 6. And then the last spot is row 3, column 3. So row 3, column 3, 12 plus 0 plus negative 5.